Time is 6:15. Here's the news, edited by Dulmit Samrasingha, read by Victor Raj. First, take a look at the headlines of the local news. Party leaders decide to postpone the provincial council election. Government plans to create 200,000 self-employment opportunities next year to uplift the rural economy. MP Imtiaz Bakir Marka says that the unity among various communities should be protected in future as well. Foreign news, UK needs tighter COVID rules to avert a new catastrophe, epidemiologist warns. Sports news, South Africa wins the first test against Sri Lanka at Centurion. Local news in detail. Minister Mahinda Amaravera says that it was decided to postpone the provincial council election at the party leaders' meeting. He said that the decision was taken considering the coronavirus pandemic, request of the Mahasangha and the present situation in the country. Minister Amaravera mentioned this during a media briefing at the Environment Ministry today. The government has planned to create 200,000 self-employment opportunities next year to uplift the rural economy. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival and Poverty Elimination, Basil Rajapaksa, said that some of the managers and officials are entrusted with the leadership of directing some of the recipients for livelihood programs. He mentioned this during a discussion yesterday at the Temple Trees with some of the managers. The discussion took place on future measures to be taken on some of the home economy, microfinance, self-employment and business development topics. The budget has paid more attention on empowering rural women by providing them with training facilities and to provide solutions to youth unemployment. The government hopes to provide facilities for self-employment, including in agriculture, animal husbandry, fisheries, renewable power generation, and cottage industries. The budget has also paid attention on the marketplace for rural products manufactured through such ventures. 25,000 new trade stores will be launched in this regard. Therefore, Mr. Basil Rajapaksa said that some of the development department is entrusted with a special responsibility when implementing budget proposals at rural level. The sum of the development department spends about 1 billion rupees monthly on some of the families. Mr. Rajapaksa instructed some of the managers to work with regional coordinating committees to empower some of the recipients with a strong economy. He further instructed to pay more attention to develop business of women and to entrepreneurs and on suitable livelihood programs for unemployed youth. MP Imtiaz Bakir Marka says that the unity among various communities prevailed since the past should be protected in future as well. He said that the history of thousands of years of the country is based on unity and reconciliation. He pointed out that conflicts were created among communities after foreign invasions. He was speaking during a commemorative program today at Beruwala Akbar Mosque. He requested the Muslim community to work with responsibility under President's present programs and prevailing circumstances. Venerable Tirukunamale Ananda Thero says that everyone should work with understanding and trust, since the foundation of all religion is peace. Transport State Minister Dillu Mamnugama said the rehearsal of the park and ride system will take place tomorrow from Makumbala Multi-Model Transport Centre, Kottava. He said that the program is scheduled to be launched from 1st of January. He further said Sri Lanka Police and the Sri Lanka Transport Board will join the rehearsal program tomorrow. The State Minister said people who come to Colombo City by their vehicles can use the allocated parking areas, and they may utilize the air-conditioned luxury bus service to reach the city and return to their parking place after attending to their work. He said bus services will commence at 6 a.m. every day and will be in operation every 15 minutes during peak hours. He further said the ministry has also decided to introduce e-ticketing system so that there would be no necessity to use currencies in the buses. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news. The 205th sermons of the Amatam Sisilas Dhamma Sermon series, which is held on each full moon poe day on a concept of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, was held today at the Prime Minister's official residence on Vijayarama Mawat in Colombo. Registrar of Hunupitiya Gangarama Temple in Colombo, Venerable Dr. Kirinde Assajithero delivered the sermon today. Meanwhile, religious programs have been organized at temples island-wide today in connection with the Undu of Full Moon Poe Day. With that, we conclude the local segment of the news bulletin.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Ministry of Health says that 704 COVID-19 patients are recovered and discharged from hospitals within the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 33,925. Meanwhile, 530 persons have tested positive for the virus within the last 24 hours. The tally of coronavirus cases reported in the country thus far is 41,603, while 7,484 of them are under medical care presently. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight. Chairman of the Southern Province Road Passenger Transport Authority, Krishali Muthukumaran, says that they are duty-bound to protect passengers. Therefore, he said that a legal action has been taken against 134 buses that transport passengers violating health regulations. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. UK needs tighter COVID rules to avert a new catastrophe, epidemiologist warns. Battle over COVID-19 aid checks shifts to US Senate. Japan develops wooden satellites to cut space junk. World news in detail. Professor of Infectious Disease Epidemiology at University College London, Andrew Hayward, warned today that Britain's government needs to bring in tighter coronavirus lockdown rules to avert a fresh wave of deaths from a new strain of the disease. Britain reported 41,385 new COVID cases yesterday, and England hospitals say they have more COVID patients than during the first wave of the pandemic in April. An unusual battle in Congress over President Donald Trump's demand for $2,000 coronavirus AIDS checks for Americans shifts today to the Senate. The Democratic-led House of the Representatives yesterday approved the direct payments in a 275 to 134 vote. And Senate Democrats plan to push Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader in the chamber, to allow a floor vote on the legislation. They have threatened to tie up Senate's floor procedures until he does. A Japanese company and Kyoto University have joined forces to develop what they will hope to be the world's first satellites made out of wood by 2023. Sumitomo Forestry said it has started research on tree growth and the use of wood materials in space. This partnership will begin experimenting with different types of wood in extreme environments on Earth. Wooden satellites would burn up without releasing harmful substances into the atmosphere or raining debris on the ground when they plunge back to Earth. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. UK needs tighter COVID rules to avert new catastrophe, epidemiologist warns. Battle over COVID-19 aid checks shifts to US Senate. Japan develops wooden satellites to cut space junk. That ends world news. Moving on to development news, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said government has allocated 517 million rupees to develop 5 botanical gardens including Peradeniya, Gampaha, Agala, Sitavaka and Mirijavila next year. Funds have also been allocated to develop the Megaleva Harita Piyasa Training Center and for conducting research. The minister said the government will take steps to develop the botanical gardens to popularize biodiversity and horticulture in Sri Lanka among tourists. That ends development news. Moving on to sports news, South Africa won the first test by an innings and 45 runs against Sri Lanka at Centurion today. Earlier, Sri Lanka scored 396 in their first innings. In reply, South Africa scored 621. Sri Lanka was all out for 180 their second innings. Kushal Perera scored 64 and Wanindu Hasaranga 59. India won the second test against Australia by 8 wickets today in Melbourne. Australia scored 195 in their first innings, while India scored 326. Australia was all out for 200 in their second innings. India achieved the target, only losing 2 wickets, that's 70 runs. The first test of Pakistan tour of New Zealand was played for the fourth day today at Mount Maunganui. New Zealand scored 431 in their first innings and declared their second innings for 180 for 5 wickets. Pakistan was all out for 239 in their first innings. Pakistan was 71 for 3 wickets in their second innings at stumps today. That ends sports news. Moving on to business news. Associated Motor Finance Company and Arpico Finance Company have received approval from the central bank to merge their operations in line with the government's financial sector consolidation program. The stock market filing said merger received green lights from the central bank this month. The surviving entity after the merger, which is required to be completed by 31st of next year, would be AMF. That ends business news.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Department of Census and Statistics Acting Director General Anurag Kumar said the expansion in agriculture in the third quarter of 2020 was mainly driven by the cultivation of cereals, freshwater fisheries, rice, vegetables, rubber, fruits, spices, and animal production in the third quarter of 2020. This positive growth rate reflects economic recovery after the contraction in first and second quarter of this year. That ends economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Finally, on to the weather report. The Met Department said several spells of showers will occur in the northern, eastern, north central, northwestern and over provinces and in the Mathale district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Sabaragamba and western provinces and in the Gaul, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara districts. That ends the weather report. To wrap up the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Party leaders decide to postpone the provincial council election. Government plans to create 200,000 self-employment opportunities next year to uplift rural economy. MP Imtiaz Bakir Maka says that the unity among various communities should be protected in future as well. Foreign news, UK needs tighter COVID rules to avert a new catastrophe, epidemiologist warns. Sports news, South Africa wins the first test against Sri Lanka at Centurion. With that, we bring to an end the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka.